Even meteorites were called stars. So they saw the star, which we know now that we call it a planet, which they saw in the east that went before them. They used to be awake every night. That was their profession. They were nocturnal, always every night looking at heavens, and they used to travel also by night, so they did this by night, is how they could have seen this star going before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. Because God knew that they would be arriving at that point. In the same way that at the beginning, in his foreknowledge, God knew that a vainglorious king, the emperor, the Caesar Augustus, will require from all his subjects to sign a document. He knew that they will be following the star, which is Jupiter. And how we explain that the star stood still, where is the word stood? Over where? This is what happens in the daily or nightly traveling of a planet. It goes to an up point when it reaches the zenith, and it seems that it stops going up and he starts descending. But also, at this specific point, the planet Jupiter was getting ready to do another retrograde motion. And that is also very fascinating because for at least 6 days, when it's getting to turn back, it stays apparently without moving itself in the same position. Because the Earth is like synchronizing the space to it, and it seems as if it were static for 6 days. So that's what happened at this point. And this fulfills, what the Magi did, fulfills the prophecy and the promise of Isaiah. And this is the edifying point of this study. It says, "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither," thither, yes. How you pronounce it? Thither, yes. And returneth not void, not empty, but watereth the earth, and maketh bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. How many years passed from the day that Daniel was as the leader of the Magi and to the point that the Magi saw Jesus? We calculate that approximately 400 years. So those Gentiles, the Magi, were faithful to the word of the prophecy that Daniel gave them for 400 years, looking every night at the skies. At a time when the Jews themselves have forgotten about the prophecies of the heavens, a group of Gentiles kept the promise. So you speak the word of God today, and it have repercussions forever. That's what Daniel did, and that's fascinating. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent. So this is really amazing, because we have a prophecy when Jesus Christ is coming as King of Kings, no more to be beaten, no more to be despised. Jeremiah also prophesied. Our question is, are the heavens going to rehearse again what we saw in his birth for his second coming? It seems that way, because Jeremiah is prophesying it very similarly. And this is the coming of Jesus, not to be beaten, but to be King of Kings. Let's read how he says. This is in another part of Jeremiah. It's as we see in Matthew, Jesus Christ coming as King, but not fulfilling his kingdom, because he offered his life for each one of you. But in Revelation, he's coming back, and that time he's going to fulfill his kingdom. And it says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch," against the astronomical work. Again, this is Jupiter, Sedek, and this is Semak, which is the Spica, the brightest star of Virgo. So I will raise unto David Jupiter Spica, so to speak, something that has to do with astronomy, but at the same time a branch of righteousness. And a king shall reign and prosper. This is Jesus Christ. This is the astronomical part. This is the terrestrial part. That king, we know that is Jesus. The king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. At that time, for 1,000 years, he's going to be Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And the devil is going to be, as we saw in our research night, is going to be under bondage, on chains. And now I'm going to show the animation, and I'm going to start by showing the moment where at the same time that Jupiter is reaching the conjunction with Regulus, the Spica, as Jeremiah prophesied synchronizedly, is touching the horizon. So let me play it here. So we have here Mercury and Venus are leaving. We have here Jupiter getting closer and closer to be in conjunction with Regulus. And we move to see it minute by minute. And we see how the Spica, the brightest star of Virgo, is about to touch the horizon with the moon at her feet and the sun at her back. And at the same time, Sedek is almost online with Regulus. So that is fascinating. And I wish to do, the next time that we have our research night, I wish to do, like, if you want to have in a laptop your own astronomy software. I was able to find one that is compatible with Windows 7, that if you have a virtual machine within Windows 8, you can also do it. So to conclude this presentation, I'm going to show you the whole thing, how it happened, and how we can rehearse it over and over if we have the software, and we can do it manually. So here, Jupiter is starting from the constellation that wrongfully is called the Cancer. And as my research of the constellation is going, biblically I can see that the constellation that is called Cancer today belongs to the constellation of the donkey, which is very interesting. Do you remember the donkey upon which Jesus Christ was mounted when he entered to Jerusalem? So this constellation is the donkey, and from this one is the one where we are going to start with Jupiter, righteousness moving. And you see that Mercury, represented Gabriel the messenger, is arriving. So we're going to be moving little by little. And that's the conjunction of Jupiter with Mercury. The first one, we put it as the first one because Gabriel was the first one that gave the message to Mary. And then Mercury keeps going, Jupiter is moving, and Venus, look the speed of Venus. Venus is saying, wait for me, wait for me. Then they had the meeting, right there, the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus. And Jupiter, so to speak, tells Venus, representing Jesus, wait for me, I'm going to pick up the scepter of authority from the feet, from under the feet of Regulus, from under the feet of Leo, which is on Regulus, and I'm going to give it to you. So this is the second conjunction, and the first of Jupiter with Venus. So Venus goes, and you see, there are more stories to it that we are not covering. Like, we just saw Venus having a conjunction with Regulus, and you see Mercury returning in a retrograde motion, and moving a long distance side by side with Venus as in conjunction, right there. While Jupiter is getting ready to the first conjunction right there with the Regulus. And if we keep moving, and here is the time, I synchronize it for days, because when you have the movement for minutes or hours, you can also do it. And you can see that when Regulus is about to return, at least during 6 days, or even sometimes 8 days, it seems that it's not moving at all, because it's getting ready to do the retrograde motion. That's Jupiter coming back, getting ready to the second conjunction with Regulus. And if you want to change the timing to see if the moon, but a program is as good as the programmer that made it, so we can make this to an hour. I don't know if the iPhones can also have astronomical software.
They do. I have one on my phone.
Oh wow, that's awesome. And here, let's see if this software is well designed to show some covering of the Regulus by the moon. Right there, the moon is coming, Maybe right there, it's covering Regulus. But the software should be designed to be even a little closer to Regulus. But you can see here, this was the first time that the moon covered Regulus. I don't know if in the software you have, it shows.
No, it just shows where they are right now.
Oh, okay, yes. That's very cool because that helps you to identify the constellations. But this one gives you the ability to reconstruct every time in history to see which astronomical events were happening. So, for example, if you have dreams of a prophet, if you want to be prophet, you can say, well, what's going to happen in the future? When is going to happen something similar again? And you can at least not say this is like this, but at least have some clue. And then it keeps moving back. And to move faster, I move this again to days. But you see, you can program if you want the speed to be hour by hour or by days. And we move it by days. It seems that this stays there for a little while, 6 to 8 days, and then it starts coming back again. And that's the third conjunction. And the moon was designed by this software to go so low. But you remember 2 months ago when we were talking about the line and the circuit, all the planets and the sun and the moon follow a specific line, like a highway on heaven. And over that highway, there are bright stars in each constellation. And God is making them do something like this for our knowledge. So here, we are getting ready to the second time that Jupiter and Venus get in conjunction. And this is very important. And again, I'm going to change it to make it big by the hour. Look right there how they are getting so close that they fuse almost as one. Right there. That's when Jupiter gave the scepter, figuratively speaking, to Jesus, the one that he picked up from Regulus when the moon covered the feet of Regulus. And now we move it again by day to look at the final meeting. And you see Saturn is nowhere to be seen during the whole year. He's in the totally opposite side of heaven at that time. So Venus, and look, the amazing thing is that Venus and Mercury do a retrograde motion in order to be in the same meeting with the other ones. And the last conjunction is right there, Jupiter with Mars. And look how close is Mercury and how almost in line is also Venus. So you see, and then they continue their motions. They say thank you very much, and they are going out of the scene. And you see the speed of those ones until Jupiter continues. And if we continue, we're going to reach to the point where Jupiter reaches another point of retrograde motion when the Magi arrived and Jupiter stood over Bethlehem. Is that it was getting ready to do another retrograde motion, this time on Virgo. And that's where the Magi arrived. So to conclude, this is the awesome way that God gives testimony of the birth of his son with the stars. And because it's a perfect mechanics like the one that you have in a clockwork, you can rehearse it over and over. So thank you very much.